Good morning, and thank you for joining us on this cloudy morning. On today's show, we will be hearing from Steve Deming of Microsoft and Jonathan Pocious of Payroll Services LLC. But before we turn it over to our guests, I want to talk a few things about what's going on has happened this week. On Tuesday, I attended the Maryland Board of Accountancy meeting, and a couple key factors came up during the meeting. One, sadly, we are seeing that some of our Maryland CPA candidates are not achieving the highest scores on their exam. So we're going to be keeping a watch on that. And the board feels that the reason for this low scoring is due to the change of the exam. So we're going to give it a little bit more time and see what happens in the future. Also, the board is reaching the social world, and they are now going to be putting out a quarterly newsletter. This newsletter will not only will be coming via email, but it will include videos as well. And I'm really excited about this because the videos will be addressing such things like CE compliance as well as independence issues. So that first issue will be coming out in the fall. For all the CPAs, make sure that you keep a watch in your email box, and you'll see that coming through. As I stated in last week's taping, the board was talking about looking at firm mobility. Well, this issue came up again at Tuesday's meeting. So it looks like that we might see something at this legislative session in 2019. So the board is going to be addressing this issue in their August meeting. So keep watch on, and we'll get back to you more on that. And the last thing is that the board sadly has received some notices from exam candidates who's have had family members who have passed, and there really was no policy concerning this. So the board looked at it, and they have decided that they're going to follow the same timing as they approved for this exam site closures. You know, when you have bad weather. So that same schedule is they're going to be using for exam candidates who had a passing of a family member. Now, this is only going to be approved automatically for immediate family members. Now, if you have someone who is an exam candidate who has someone who is not in the immediate family and missed the exam due to a death, they will still need to be notifying the board and giving that information, and they will look at those on an individual basis. Now, on another note, now we have been hearing a lot about the IRS and the paycheck checkup. Well, we've heard from our members, and it looks like that the new withholding tables are not withholding enough from your client's pay. And this is a very serious issue, and it could be impacting a lot, not only your employees, but your client's employees. And so we are really urging all of you to take a time and meet with your clients and take a look at their withholdings. I mean, Jonathan may be talking a little bit about that when he comes on, but I think you really need to look at your clients and your employees and make sure they're having enough withheld on their pay, and they may need to redo a W-4. So make sure you take a look at that. Next, I guess now we're ready to turn it over to Steve. Steve from Microsoft will be joining us now, and he will be joining us virtually. Steve, are you ready?
It's dinging, so I think I am ready.
Great. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. So Sandy, you asked me to come talk about a few topics today, all in preparation for the meeting this fall. But really, I wanted just to sort of provide a quick update to what's going on with Microsoft and Microsoft technologies at a very general level, specifically around Windows, around Office 365. And I think a topic that I want to hit is our new update process and policies. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to discuss today, if that's all right.
That sounds great.
Excellent. So let's start with Windows 10. So of course, Windows 10 is still our current and preferred operating system, and we continue to release updates to Windows 10 specifically about every 6 months or so, we get an update to Windows 10 coming out. The Spring Creators Update was the most recent one. At least that's kind of the internal name that we use for it. And it had a lot of, it continues along this line of providing a lot of capabilities that are targeted towards developers and creators of content, specifically things that are affiliated with being able to do three-dimensional representations and so forth. It's part of the gaming world. And obviously, that's important to our consumer market. But the other thing we should be aware of is that we do continue to provide updates for the business world. And so there are a lot of business features that I've seen come up over the last couple of months, but there are two that I've actually brought into my regular use, and I think those are useful for people to be aware of. The first one is something called Focus Assist, and the idea behind Focus Assist is it literally lets you set a window of time in which Windows will turn off all of your interruptions. So if you normally get interruptions on your computer from people calling you, or if you get interruptions on your computer from email coming in, it will literally turn those interruptions off. I mean, it's not that you're not still getting the email, it's just that you're not getting the alert that you got an email, and you're not getting the alert that someone's calling you. It's turned the alerts off. Now, the advantage, obviously, is it is, well, doing exactly what it says, Focus Assist. It's trying to assist you in focusing on what you need to do. You can set rules as to when Focus Assist goes on and off, so it can be automated. You can also set overrides. In other words, there are certain things that come in as being critical. They would still ring your alarm. They would still alert you. So you can have critical and non-critical Focus Assist. The point being, I'm able to have this window every day that I get to focus on my job, and I don't get the outside distractions. You don't get the noise, the Facebook kind of noise. Maybe that's not such a good example to use here. But it's still I'm not a big Facebook user, so it's not necessarily a Facebook thing for me, but frankly, knowing that my IM is not going to interrupt me, my phone is not going to interrupt me, my email is not going to interrupt me, and I'm able to just simply focus on the list of things that I've got to work on, I feel like I get more done during that window just because I'm not distracted, just because I'm not tempted to be distracted. It actually works really well with the philosophy in Outlook that you should categorize every email that comes in Outlook, categorize it as to whether it's an email from a coworker or an email from a client, an email for information, or an email that's something that you need to do, categorizing all of those emails, and then when you turn around to go do that work, you do all of the like types of emails together. In other words, read through all of your coworker emails all at one time and read through all your client emails all at one time. Again, a focus capability. I use colors in Outlook to help categorize the emails, and then along with Focus Assist, I set 2 hours aside every day, and that's all I'm going to do is go through email, go through those different types of things. I always do customers first. I do my boss last. Don't tell him that. But the idea is it lets me get my job done in a more efficient fashion when I'm working in the email. And like I said, Focus Assist just reduces the distractions. So that's one of the features that I like. Another feature that I like is a new preview feature. It shows up on the task. It shows up on the task bar, and it's called the Task View. Again, I don't know about everybody on this call, but for what I do, I am constantly opening random documents to address questions and things like that. And at the end of the day, I've opened 20 or 30 documents, and I've closed those documents. Tomorrow, there's no chance I'm going to remember which documents I opened in which order I opened them. But I do sort of know I worked on this for client A in the morning, and I worked on this for client B in the afternoon. Well, the idea of the task view is it actually shows you a historical timeline of the documents you worked on and when you worked on them. So you may not remember the exact name of the document, but if you can get close to the time, you can go look at the history, and it doesn't matter what product you were using. It doesn't matter what kind of document it was. It shows you an entire historical timeline of everything you opened. Now, it starts with a very high level. I think on my screen it shows, I think, the 8 most used documents during the day. In other words, the documents I stayed in the most time, the top 8. But you can, there's a little extra link that lets you see a detail hour by hour breakdown as well. So it shows you a high level view day by day by day, and then you can drill into a particular day to get extra detail. Again, because I'm a little scatterbrained and because my job requires that I jump back and forth, it helps me get back to things 2 or 3 days later, and I go, yeah, I know I worked on it. I have no idea what I called it or where I put it, but I can go back and look at this history and see what I did, when I did it, and who I did it for. So those are just a couple of the Windows 10 features that I think are extremely business related, and that I think people should just, if you haven't had a chance to play with them, go play with them. When it comes,
Steve, can I ask you a question? So when
please.
you're using the task pane, can you link right back to the document from that? Or
Yes.
does that just give you the name?
No, it lets you. They're hot links, so they're active links. Absolutely.
Wow. Now, what happens if you accidentally deleted it? What happens then?
Well, then you're going to have to do a little deeper digging,
Okay.
but at least you knew where it was, so what it was called. We do have a technology that's been in Windows, for maybe 6-7 years now, called volume shadow copies. If you turn that feature on, it actually lets you keep historical generational copies of your documents as you work on them, and you can recover documents from a historical point of view. Even if you delete the document, you can recover it. It works on our desktop technologies. It can be turned on our server technologies, and most recently we've added it to our online cloud technologies. So it's called volume shadow copies is the technical name for it.
And you said this was these 2 items were updates. What should we be looking for when we go to Windows for update downloads? Is there a specific date that we should be looking for to make sure that we?
Yes, so Microsoft has changed our build number scheme to represent year and month of the build.
Okay.
So you're specifically looking for build 1803. That would be 2018 and March, to be specific. Ironically, it came out in April, but it's called 1803.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to definitely be doing that today.
Sure. And again, the little task view actually shows up as an icon on your task ribbon. It's over by the search. The focus assist actually shows up if you go to the notifications area, the little icon that's in the lower right corner. You'll see focus assist is now on that little matrix of tiles. You don't have to leave it there, but that's where it shows up initially. And you can turn it on, you can turn it off. And like I said, there's also an alarms only mode.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, so from a Office point of view, just to say, the challenge with talking about the updates to Office 2019 is that I'm a subscriber to Office 365, and so I've been seeing all of these updates as they came out. Office 2019 is the perpetual licensed version, in which we're going to take all those updates, put them into one package, and roll them out as a new product. Let's be blunt. Microsoft would prefer that everybody move to the subscription model of Office 365. You don't pay for your product up front, you pay for it over time, but you then get all the updates over time. You get other benefits as well. So that's our preference, but we're not ignoring people who like the perpetual license where I pay for it once and I get to use it for as long as I want. Perpetual licensing is still there. That's going to be the 2019 product. It'll be out later this calendar year. Some of the things that have already appeared in Office 365 but will be part of the 2019 product. For instance, collaborative editing, being able to have two people work on the same document at the same time, that's going to continue to be a focus for Microsoft, making sure that we can do that in Word, making sure that we can do that in Excel, making sure that we can do that in PowerPoint, and of course in OneNote. So those are the products where we have the co-authoring capabilities. The document that you're working on has to be stored in a collaborative space. In other words, it has to be stored in either SharePoint Online, OneDrive, or Dropbox. Those are the collaborative spaces that we currently support. But if you have a document in that location, you can invite other people to work on that document with you simultaneously. Literally in the upper right corner, you see who else is working on the document while you're working on the document. And in the content of the document, you actually see their changes appearing as they make their changes. So you're truly two people working on the same document at the same time, seeing each other's changes. We've been doing that, and frankly, Google has been doing that. A lot of vendors have been doing that for quite some time. But the biggest enhancements is that we're now doing it across more products. That's good.
Mhm.
And that we no longer require that everybody be using the exact same edition of
Oh.
Office in order to make it happen. In other words, some people can be using an iPad while other people are using the desktop version, and they still can co-author together. So that's really big. I enjoy using it I work on a team that's scattered across the country. I enjoy using it with my coworkers all the time.
Wonderful.
When it comes to Excel, the biggest things that have been changing in Excel is that we've been adding new formulas, new equations. But when I was looking through the list, they're pretty esoteric. We can now take a group of cells that all have text in them and concatenate them all together with one command. You don't have to do cell A plus cell B plus cell C plus cell C. That's how you used to have to do it. Now you can say A through D, bring them all together and concatenate them. It's fun, it's easy, but if you're not doing string concatenation in Excel, not a whole lot to tell you there. But we have added some new charting types, and one of the biggest things that we've done in Excel, or that we're going to be doing in Excel, is the linking to live data on the web. And this is actually true in Word as well, but it's more relevant in Excel, where you can have a source of information like the stock exchange, and you can link to live data in the stock exchange and have it automatically populate your spreadsheet. So if NASDAQ or the Dow chooses to publish their data in this live link form, effectively you are able to then bring that data into your spreadsheet without having to copy the numbers down every time something changes. Literally, as the numbers change, your spreadsheet changes and you would see your calculations change. So that's one of the Excel enhancements, is that live linking of data. And then from a PowerPoint point of view, and people always know I love talking about my PowerPoint, there's a feature called Morph. And I realize if you don't need it, this means nothing to you. But if I've got an object that's in one location on one slide, and I build a second slide with that object and move it to a new location, Morph will automatically make sure that object transitions itself in a smooth way from the first location to the second location when I go from one slide to another. Again, I realize it's kind of a weird, very specific to presenters, but I use it for, well, okay, we'll bring this all back home. I use it when I do any presentations that involve 3D objects, because the 3D object can not only be moved, but it can be rotated and shifted to a new angle, and it will automatically slide it and rotate it as I move from one slide to another. Again, very much a presentation feature. I love it. Not everybody needs it. So those are just some of the things. Oh, and we're getting better at attaching documents or links in Outlook. So if you're in Outlook and you're trying to send a big document to somebody, we'll offer now to store it in your OneDrive and send a link instead of sending the document itself. We still need a little work on that one, but we're getting better at it. But it's to make email move faster and easier, and keep you from sending so many attachments.
Wow.
And I know I've used all of my time.
Well, Steve, once again, you did an amazing job. Again, always interesting hearing these little tidbits that we learn about. And I'm really excited to have you again this year at our Solo and Small Firm Conference in November. You're going
I'm
to be
looking forward to it.
presenting. Yes, you'll be presenting on November 2nd, which is Friday afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Steve,
Lots of
thank
office
you.
stuff.
Yes, I'm excited. So
Okay.
thank you for joining us this morning. And now at this time, we're going to turn it over to Jonathan Poches from Payroll Services. The Society has been using payroll services for many years and been very, very happy with their product. They have great service. All their staff is very professional and knowledgeable and on all the rules and regulations. Jonathan, are you with us?
I'm with you. Good morning.
Good morning. Now, Jonathan, I don't know if you heard my presentation earlier about the withholding.
I did.
You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So the W-4 is an interesting subject right now. We've gotten some emails from accountants asking about it. Essentially, from a software perspective on how we process, we have to implement the tables that the IRS publishes out there. What we traditionally see, and this isn't specific to this year with the tax change, but any year that there's tax changes with it, is that we always see a delay in employees implicating anything that would actually help them out. So by the time we issue W-2s, we get the phone calls going, why is my withholding too low? Really, as accountants and CPAs, what you need to be aware of is the opportunity that this presents to you. A lot of your business owners, they don't care about the W-4. And to be honest, they're not going to run around and ask their employees for new W-4s and things like that. They don't necessarily have to. The employee can present that. What that gives you as an opportunity is to start marketing directly, not only to just business owners, but actually to the regular Joe that needs tax planning. This is a great opportunity for you to start putting out some marketing and do very inexpensive projections. Remember, a lot of these guys are going to have a W-2 or two and very simple stuff on the Schedule A. So this will present an opportunity for you to get a potential client, make some revenue through some tax planning and projections. So that's what we would recommend whenever we get questions about taxes, which we do. We have to say you need to contact your accountant. In the cases that they don't have accountants, we try to refer them to a local accountant in their area that we work with. So that is how we would typically recommend with the current W-4 situation.
Oh, great. So tell us a little bit about your product and about the service you offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we work with accountants and CPAs a lot on is they think about just payroll when we talk to them initially. However, payroll has kind of changed. It's really a dead product, and it's a cornerstone and a foundation point of what we do. But in all reality, it's a dead product. We're morphing into what's called workforce management. Workforce management actually looks at the entire picture now. As many of the CPAs and accountants are aware of here, just alone this year, we had mandatory paid time off or sick leave from Maryland. We have two different minimum wage laws. You have one in Prince George's, you have one in Montgomery County, and then we have the Maryland minimum wage. All of these things are starting to kind of just combine and just create lots of headaches for businesses. And so it's more than just here are my hours, enter it in, spit out checks, and here we go. We are starting to incorporate everything from what we like to call from the hiring to separation process. So from applicant tracking to new employee onboarding to WOTC, which is work opportunity tax credits, all the way down to benefit enrollment, workers' comp, and then obviously the payroll component as well. So we are a complete workforce management company, and that is really where the industry is going. If you have clients that are only using payroll, they're probably got a lot of things that are going on that could be more efficient and also to protect them. Timekeeping is one of the big ones that we push now, where it is required to keep these documents for years and years. And a lot of these small businesses, if we say, where's your timesheet? It's in the box. These are some of the things that we're trying to make sure and help clients be compliant with. And so that's really where we help small businesses. We service anywhere between 1 to 1,200 employees in a company. We're in all different 50 states, and we have that capability. All of our system is all housed online, so you have 24/7 access. That doesn't mean that our clients are forced to use it. Every client has a dedicated CSR, whether they're processing payroll online or if they're calling it into us itself. Some of the ways to work with us is we have 3 ways to work with us. The first way is very simple. It's the traditional referral model where you can refer us business and we'll take care of that client for you. The second way is if you're currently processing payroll right now internally, you're probably using QuickBooks, or maybe you're using Creative Solutions or software that's more geared for accounting purposes. We do work with several accountants on a back office solution where we process the payroll for them, and then they are the intermediary, or they are the front, if you would say. The third way to work with us is we have a lot of accountants that are doing after the fact payroll, or maybe they just have 5 or 10 clients and they just say, hey, listen, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And we work with them in acquisition of that client to come up with a right solution. So we have 3 different solutions that in the way to work with us. We always want to give you different opportunities and different options to work with us. And that's what we're here for. The best way to contact us is you can either call us directly. Our 1-800 number is 888-WAY-2PAY. Or you can reach us on our website, which is payrollservicesllc.com. And you can reach out to myself directly, which is John P. at payrollservicesllc.com, or you can visit us at any of the MSAs that we're at.
Wonderful. Jonathan, again, I want to thank you for the many, many years of our partnership. And again, I've been very, very happy with the service, and you have a great team, and they are only a phone call away. And I really appreciate their quick attendance to all my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to conclude by thanking Steve and Jonathan for joining us this morning. And I want to remind everyone that next week we're going to be moving the program to Wednesday at noon. This is just going to be testing the waters a little bit to see, if you prefer the noon time versus this early morning. And we want to hear from you. So when you log in next week, give me your thoughts. Post something on, hey, this is a great time, whatever. Or no, I like the morning. We want to hear from you. Now, next week, we're going to be joined by another Jonathan, but it'll be Jonathan Rivlin. And Jonathan is is one of our members for many, many years. And he is doing a new program called Tech Tips. And Jonathan has been testing the waters with us a little bit by supplying some articles for our e-weekly. Well, now he's going to be expanding that, and he'll be doing it through the e-weekly. He'll be doing it in the Free State Accountant, and we're going to have him on the show periodically. So next week, he's going to be introducing he will be discussing Bill.com. And so we're really excited about that, and we're really excited about having Jonathan on the show. So I want to wish everyone a great day. Hopefully the sun will shine a little bit this afternoon. And don't forget, this evening, we're going to be going to the Nationals and Orioles game down in National Park. So if you're watching, look for us in the stands. We're the ones that'll be in orange. And have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.